From The Selfish Path to Romance, download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com.
Now, speak to me.
I love you.
Yes, speak to me of love.
I love you.
Now be eloquent, be brilliant for me.
I love you very much.
I ask for cream and you give me milk and water.
I adore you.
And you may recognize that. That's from Cyrano de Bergerac. And Cyrano was so fluid. He was so beautifully articulate. And he was writing poetry to speak to Roxanne, and for, not for himself, but for Christian to speak. But they were Cyrano's words. And when Christian has to speak on his own, he's not articulate. He doesn't know how to wax poetic, and she is so hurt. She doesn't get the cream. She gets milk and water. I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner, and my show is The Rational Basis of Happiness. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I'm here to take your calls and questions. My number's toll-free, 1-877-Dr. toll-free, 1-877-DRKENNER. And right now, I want to turn to the phones. And Jeff, you're dealing with some anxiety?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Tell me what's going on.
Well, I'm not sad, I'm not depressed, and I'm usually a very optimistic person. But I've been experiencing some physical symptoms for the last 3 or 4 months. I've also been taking a sleep medication, which I've now reduced in half because I wasn't sleeping well, Ambien.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm wondering, I'm just trying to find answers. I'm wondering if that is the reason I'm feeling the way I am, which specifically is I get tingly, burning sensations when I'm stressed, or sometimes when I'm even not stressed. I could be watching Desperate Housewives, and all of a sudden I have that burning sensation, pressure in my ears, and because I worry already, I'm hypersensitive to stuff.
Yeah.
It's a concern of mine, and it seems like there would be a physical reason for this, but I think it might be anxiety. So that's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I did get blood work, by the way.
Oh, that is, my next question is, I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a psychologist,
Right.
a PhD, so I always like people who are experiencing anxiety to first get a good medical workup, just to go to their general practitioner and give them the symptoms, give them whatever medications they're on. Sometimes there's a medication interaction that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so you first, sometimes when people are depressed, it's just their thyroid, and they just
Right.
need thyroid medication, and there's not some heavy issue going on in their life. You've given me conflicting information, which is always good to know. In one part, I hear that you're optimistic, that's the norm for you.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And so if you're looking at, if we set aside the medical that you can have checked out, I know my own doctor has said that Ambien can make her feel very weird, and so she's cut back on it. I take it occasionally, but I take half of a half of a half. So it's like I breathe a whiff of it, and it helps me. I don't know whether it's just hot flashes that I'm having that, it just helps me over them. But I've never felt weird with it, but that is something to check out medically. If we get to the contradiction that I'm hearing is that you're usually this optimistic person. You're not sad.
No.
And now you're feeling hypersensitive and worried.
Correct.
What in your life would be something that crosses your mind when you feel worried?
Probably 3 things. One, actually, the physical sensations I'm getting worries me.
Okay.
So it becomes
go ahead.
cyclical, I guess. 2, on a broader scope, there's financial issues, which are, it's not the end of the world. I have a good paying job, but I have debt. That's there.
How much debt? Just ballpark.
Probably $49,000.
Okay, 49.
I've taken steps already for that, though. That's through consumer credit counseling, so that's actually a good thing.
Okay, that still would be an undercurrent of anxiety as that gets resolved. At least you're taking the action, so you'll reduce some of your anxiety. What's the third thing?
And then also my stress on my job, which this might sound like a contradiction again, but I enjoy my job thoroughly, but I have a lot of responsibilities, and it's much more stressful than ever this year.
What type of a job?
I'm a high school teacher, but also a teacher trainer in a large inner city school district with a lot of issues in our district right now. And I'm an elected union rep, and so there's a lot of, almost every day there's issues that come up that I try to help and resolve. So. Okay.
The first thing that comes to my mind with that is integrity. You want to know when these issues come up, what is your own moral compass? Have you thought it through? Who is really right? And not to feel like you have to defend one person or another. It's your moral integrity that's at stake. Mm-hmm. So if you're confused on any particular issue, that could lead to uncertainty. Guess what emotion we feel when we feel uncertainty or self-doubt? Anxiety. And anxiety triggers your autonomic nervous system. You're going to release the adrenaline or the cortisol, and so it's almost like you're you're dosing yourself with these chemicals.
That's a really good analogy, because that's what I feel. I mean, I was at a meeting tonight. It was a great meeting, but I'm sitting there and I'm feeling those burning sensations again, and it's, I'm functioning, but it's very uncomfortable.
Okay, again, I would rule out the medical, but let me give you some of the symptoms that you would have. If I were just about to step into a very busy street and I didn't see a Mack truck coming at me pretty fast, and I glance over and I see it, what are you going to observe physically with my body at that moment?
Well, panic symptoms.
Panic. Now, what do you see with my muscles? Are they going to be all loose and gangly, or are they going to... What are they going to be?
You would tense up.
I'm going to tense up my muscles. What's going to happen to my breathing? Is it going to be like I'm at the beach, totally relaxed, lying on a lounge?
No, it'll be quick.
It'll be quick. I need to get the oxygen in to supply the oxygen to the muscles which are tensing.
Right.
Do I have time to just digest food, to lie back and let my stomach store food, or am I going to spend energy rather than digest it and store it?
Well, expend energy.
I'm expending energy. So my digestive system closes off. So sometimes people will feel a little nausea, a little queasy, or a little tightening in the chest. Sometimes they feel tingly in the fingers. That's very common. That's just your autonomic nervous system doing its normal thing when you release the adrenaline, the cortisol. Sometimes you've got some other symptoms of pressure in the ears. I don't know. Some people feel a little dizzy because a little less blood goes to the brain, a smidgen less, but it just can give people a feeling of disorientation because your blood is shunting to the large muscle groups, your vital organs also, but it doesn't have time to digest. You're changing from, technically, you're changing from the parasympathetic system to the sympathetic system. Those are branches of the autonomic nervous system. Now, you don't need to know that. It's just that you want to know that it's causal, that people have symptoms such as sweating, palpitations, a pounding heart, sometimes even choking sensations, chest pains, abdominal distress, feeling dizzy, fears of dying, fears of wondering what's happening, maybe chills or hot flashes, and it's all due to your autonomic nervous system, to your thoughts, fundamentally your thoughts. So looking at the job, as a high school teacher, my guess is that you are on overload, and you're very stressed. I would do the same thing you did with the financial situation, which is look for the next few steps you can take to resolve that, to try to figure out how to reduce some of the stress, if that's possible. You're an elected union official. I think integrity is huge there. Don't let anybody, other union people or anybody else bully you. Know your moral compass. And you can always read the book. My favorite books are going to be Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead. You can go to my website, drkenner.com, and maybe read Atlas Shrugged. That's fabulous for a moral compass.
Okay.
And thank you. I want to thank you very much for your call. I wish we had more time, Jeff, and I hope that helps.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, Jeff. I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner, and coming up, how do you cope with negative emotions, as we were just talking about, such as anxiety and depression or anger? Maybe you feel like a failure. Maybe you feel you can't trust anyone. Coming up, I'll be talking with Dr. Jeff Riggenbach, a cognitive therapist trained at the Beck Institute, and we'll discuss how your deepest ideas you may not even be consciously aware of, such as I'm a loser or it's not safe to trust anyone, can really mess up your life. I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner on the Rational Basis of Happiness.
Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance, the Serious Romance Guidebook by clinical psychologist Dr. Ellen Kenner and co-author Dr. Edwin Locke, who's world famous for his theories in goal setting.
Sex, more than any other pleasure, involves the integration, the joining, the merging of both your mind and your body. There are pleasures that involve mainly the mind, such as intellectual achievements or contemplating a work of art. And there are pleasures that are primarily physical, such as a good workout, a massage, or a hot bath. But more than any other pleasure, sex involves you as a whole person, combining both conscious and physical sensations. Romantic sex is the most intense pleasure a human being can experience.
You can download Chapter 1 for free by going to drkenner.com and buy it at amazon.com.